most of autoimmune diseases, there's not really a cure for it, right? And I think the mental aspect of it is where it will hit you the most, I think.
Welcome to the One Day at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Today in the studio, we have with us Abrial. Right, Abrial, you want to do a quick introduction for us?
I'm Abrial.
Abrial.
31, and I'm here today to share more about my condition and spread awareness for invisible illnesses.
Nice, thanks, Abrial. Am I pronouncing your name right, Abrial? Okay, so you have this autoimmune condition called I can't really pronounce it lah. Can you pronounce it for me?
Ankylosing spondylitis.
Ankylosing spondylitis.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's an autoimmune condition, right? So what are the symptoms for this condition? What is your day-to-day life like with this condition?
Actually, without an attack, right? Without a flare, I'm quite normal. But when the flare comes, then the symptoms are like, pain in your SI joint, where the SI joint is like where the spine connects to the pelvis. It's actually just around your buttock area. And then that is where it hurts the most for me. I think a lot of people experience it very differently. But for me, primarily, it started with the SI joint. So for me, it causes like difficulty walking and weird things like getting up from bed, standing up, getting up from a car seat, sitting down on a car seat. I think because that joint is like just in the middle of your legs and your spine, right? Then that causes me a lot of problems. I think some other things where people don't talk about is like fatigue, like these sort of things, right? And then like all the other autoimmune diseases out there, I think a lot of times it's the mental aspect of it, which is like day in, day out. If you experience it once in like once a year, once every 6 months, it's not so bad. But I think if you experience it constantly, regularly, for many years, and for most of autoimmune diseases, there's not really a cure for it, right? And I think the mental aspect of it is where it will hit you the most, I think. Yeah.
So like for you, how often do these attacks come?
So for me, I say averagely like last year, once a month. I mean, although I say that like maybe it's like, it could be, I average it out, right? But it could be like maybe 1 month, like it happened twice, thrice, and then if I average out across the year, then it's once a month.
Right.
But it really depends because like there will be periods of time where I control it, like my sleep is good, diet is good, everything is good. Then the flare doesn't really hit me very often then. I feel like a normal human being. Apart from like the occasional like 1 out of 10 pain, 2 out of 10 pain, you feel there's a pain, but then like you still can go on about your day. Still not so bad.
I see.
I think that's how.
So normally when you don't have an attack, you basically function and live like a normal human being lah.
Yeah, I would say that. Apart from like knowing certain things that I can't do that will trigger my attack, which is like maybe watching my diet, certain sports activity I can't do, like football, Muay Thai, anything that is like really high impact, running, like I know all those will trigger. So apart from that, I can do everything else.
Okay, so are there any, like practices or like medication you take to kind of keep the illness or keep the condition at bay to prevent the flares and all that?
I think it's like, which is quite funny because it's working out something that is quite scary, and people may think like, if you are so sick, right, how can you work out, right? But actually working out is one of the like prerequisite for me to like combat the illness or keep it at bay. Because like stretching, which probably like yoga, Pilates that I do, and also like just working out in the gym, strengthening the muscles, right, also help because the main thing about like combating the illness, right, is to keep active and keep the muscles working. Because what happens with like AS, right, it actually makes your body stiffer and stiffer. And if you just keep like a sedentary lifestyle, right, then it becomes worse. So apart from that, like diet or like, avoid sugar, too much sugar. I would say it's not like I can't have sugar. I can. Just like avoid too much sugar, too much salt, too much processed food, too much chips, maybe fried food, such things. Actually quite similar to what like ordinary folks need to do to keep healthy, right?
Healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. But I think one thing very important for like my condition is to keep active and keep working out. Otherwise, like you become stiffer and stiffer, and then it just worsens quicker and quicker. Yeah.
So this condition, like AS, like it's a type of autoimmune thing that is somewhat similar to like arthritis. Would you say
Correct.
that?
It's actually a form of arthritis. It's just that it strikes like the younger folks, which is like, actually, I can't really put a range because I've heard like people as young as like 10 getting it. But normally it doesn't affect people above like, people usually get diagnosed with it below like 50, I think. So they don't, after 50 usually it's different from arthritis. But yeah, I think that's about it. But it's really a form of arthritis, yeah.
That means it's a condition that is affecting like the bones, or it's mainly the bone that is causing the issue?
Mainly it's like it affects the joint, the ligaments of the spine, but it can happen anywhere that there's a particular, like anywhere there's a bone, right? It can affect it. So like people don't need feel symptoms on like the SI joint. They could feel symptoms on their hands, their elbow joints, even your eyes as well. Like even your mouth, because there are bones around as well. So I think everybody experiences the symptoms a bit differently, but mainly it's the immune system like reacting negatively towards your joints. Yeah.
Right. So for you, the main issue is like at the lower back pelvis area.
So for me, it really started off like at the my right SI joint. So that's why I started to notice like there was a problem with my body. Yeah.
So if you don't, kind of like keep a healthy lifestyle, take your precautions, like the condition could potentially worsen to affect other so-called joints and bones in your body.
Yeah, I think so, because like if you get stiffer and stiffer, and if like your I know there's one issue is like if you keep getting stiffer, right? What happens is that if for example, if like your shoulders keep like going forward and forward, it restricts the chest space here. So your lungs can't really fully expand. So like those sort of things is like could happen if you don't like continue stretching, don't continue like working out. But at the same time, like I think it's to each individual what they can do, what they cannot do. Because sometimes working out with a bad form or a bad exercise or a bad sport, right, will make it worse.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So apart from, like diet, working out, healthy lifestyle, do you have to take any medication on a daily basis, or?
So for me, I don't. There are other people who have to on a regular basis, depending on what medication they have to take. But particularly for me, I take like Acoxia every time.
Yes, yeah. I know Acoxia.
Yeah, so as you know, it's not very good on the kidney.
Yes.
Yeah, so
that little green. Yes,
and it's and it's very powerful, but
yes,
I don't take it on a daily basis, only when the flare comes. But when I can feel like a flare is coming, I will still take it, because I feel like every single time an attack comes, right, if you don't control it well, then it will cause more permanent damage on your bones. Like it might cause scarring, and which then will cause it to like have the what you call that, the bones, the spurs. So like what happens is that the reason why like Ankylosing spondylitis has its name, right, Ankylosing, right, is because what happens is that if you don't control it well enough, right, your bones or the joints between your spines, right, what happens is that it will start to form like tiny like bones out. It's similar to how like I like to use this expression. It's like similar to how like, like how Muay Thai fighters, they keep like rubbing their shin to strengthen it. Right, but what they're doing is like they're causing like damage there, and then so the bone will like it will grow like calcify, something like that, calcify. And what happens is that the same thing happens, and when that happens, right, and if your spine joins together, right, then you get like a bamboo spine. It's not flexible,
right?
So you lose all range of motion and such things. So I feel like every time when an attack comes from me, right, like I will definitely take good care and like not let it have permanent damage, because I mean we have to live with it for your entire life.
Correct, absolutely. And for you, when an attack does happen, does it kind of do you have to put a halt to basically your life just to kind of deal with it, or does life go on for you? I
think really depends on the severity, right? But most of the time life still goes on. Like I mean, for example, if like on that day, maybe I have like 3 appointments set, right? And I know these are important appointments, right? And even if I'm feeling like maybe 8 out of 10 kind of pain, I take, and I know that I can't miss this appointment because people have schedules to meet.
Right.
You know, you can't just keep postponing appointments as well, right?
Right.
So you just take a pill and then you just get on with it. I mean, alternatively, I could change them to Zoom appointments. But of course, I mean, honestly, most of the people that I meet and my clients and my friends, right, they are more than willing to do it. But sometimes it's like the courtesy of it. So, you know, I don't want to be like always postponing them and telling them if it's face to face, sometimes I have documents to show them, things like that. So I think really depends. But if, for example, the pain scale is like 10 out of 10, then obviously I think, everything stops. Yeah. Everything stops. Like, maybe on that day I had a gym appointment. Maybe on the day I have I don't know, going on my friends or like even appointments. I will have to cancel them because I can't really like walk properly.
Right. Yeah.
And if it hurts getting out from bed, right? And usually what happens is like, if it hurts a lot, right? Then I'll try to get out of bed first. If I'm struggling, okay, fine. Be positive first. Like come off bed, take a warm shower, see whether it goes away. And then if it doesn't go away, okay, get back to bed, sleep for another 1-2 hours. See after taking the painkiller, right? Then see where it goes away again. If it doesn't, then okay, fine. Everything has to be cancelled.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't like it when it happens like that because like all your plans will be cancelled and then like then you start to feel like actually you're really not normal. On most days I feel normal, but when it happens, then I start to feel like, hey, actually, like I'm not exactly normal. And I think that's the difficult thing. Like the emotions during that period of time, right, is the toughest when you start to feel like actually not you do have something that you need to watch out for. Yeah.
So has there ever been like an attack that kind of caused you to miss something that you really wanted to go for, or like maybe an attack happened while you were outside and you know you don't have any painkillers with you and you kind of deal with it? Any situation like that?
Actually, I can name one quite funny one.
Okay.
So like last year, right, when I was in UK. So I was in UK with my ex-girlfriend and one of my friends. So we were visiting like one of the museum. I can't remember which museum it is. But basically like that morning when I woke up, I felt bad already. So like I needed support to walk also. But you know you're on a holiday, right? Don't always see. So I took like a painkiller. Then I went out still. And then like I thought like, okay, fine, like feels better a little bit. But when I was at the museum, like getting the museum, that journey there, I think maybe like many steps or something like that. Then like I felt very bad. Like the pain from a 3, right, it got to a 10. And then like, you know, you're overseas, like as like to your point, right, like it's something that you want to do. So you're overseas, you want to enjoy your trip, right? Correct. Then I'm with my girlfriend and my friends, felt like we planned the day there. Then like I don't want to disappoint them also, right? Like to say like, hey, I think I need to stay at home today when we are overseas. Like so at the museum, it got to a point where I couldn't walk without feeling a sharp pain. So I said like, guys, I think cannot. The only way that I can continue this trip or this museum thing is that you can rent a wheelchair. So we rent a wheelchair. And then I got wheelchair around by my girlfriend and my friend, right? But I think half of the thing I was sleeping because like it was too painful. So like every time I feel like when an attack comes, right, it drains the energy out of you. It really drains it because your mind keeps thinking about like the pain only. You don't really think about anything else, just the pain, right? Then just very shaky, then like very tired. So that was quite funny, like that incident. So because being wheelchair around the museum while looking like not, you know, like you're normal, right, gets you a lot of attention, like a lot of stares. Right. But thankfully half the time I was sleeping. So I was like, let's just like doze off. Right.
Yeah. So it does. I mean, no matter how you look at it, on most days, even though you're normal, it does cause an impact in your life, lah. You know, like what happens if I mean, are you married? No, right?
No.
Okay, so it was like not to curse you, but what happens if like there's a attack while you are at the altar, like you're getting married, and I think is there's a lot of like anxiety and fear, for these things, right? Yeah. Because it's like some important life event, like your best friend's wedding or your kind of thing, and then you always have that fear that please don't attack, please don't come, attack, please don't come.
Yeah.
The type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I also want to understand a little bit more on your, kind of diagnosis journey. How did this start? And how old did this start? And how did you eventually get diagnosed with the condition that you have, AS?
So for me, like it was during NS days. Before I got ORD, I started to feel like pain in my SI joint. So like then I was, because during army you are naturally more fit than your average life, right?
Yes.
Then I was working out a lot. I was carrying weights and everything. So I thought like okay, I attributed the pain to maybe wrong form in the gym. So what I did was I was just like YouTube and figure out like, oh, what are the reasons that your SI joint could be hurting?
Right.
Then firstly is to find out like what's that SI joint even called, right?
Right.
Where's the pain even at? Then I searched a bit, then I started to realize like, oh, maybe it's like a sleep disc or like disc that is bulging. Then I was like, okay, sure. Then I do all the stretching exercises, but it never went away. So like for like months, I still continue working out and I just do the stretches that I thought that was correct, supposedly going to help me, right? After which, I think like there was just one fine day where a flare came. Then I didn't know it was a flare. Then I only knew it as like I couldn't get out of bed. Like what's wrong? Like it hurts like hell. Then I said, I think I better go to the hospital because I never felt this kind of thing. Went to the hospital first time around, X-ray. They injected me with like, I think it's like the acoxia form of the liquid form of acoxia. Felt okay. The X-ray, everything came back fine. They say nothing, no problem. Maybe you just injured yourself in the gym. Then went back. So carry on the same thing, stretching. So some days the pain is there, some days the pain is not there. Stretching, then continue gymming. Then same thing happened again. Then went to hospital again. Then they realized that like when they X-ray, then they realized the X-ray from the first visit and the second visit, I think it was maybe 6 or 8 months apart, like the 2 attacks, the severe ones. Then it was like they realized that the SI joints, right? So normal people would have a gap, but mine was like closed up. So it was instead of like then they say, okay, there's something wrong. We need to send you to a specialist.
No.
So referred me to a specialist, orthopedic first.
Okay.
Orthopedic asked me, spoke to him, realized that okay, maybe we need to run some blood tests with you. And once they ran the blood test and then they realized they found this gene. Okay, I can't exactly recall the name of it, but there's this one particular gene, right, that if you test positive for it, there's this that means there's a very high likelihood that you have AS. So once they found that, they referred me to a rheumatologist. And then from there, then we started trying to diagnose what form of I would say what form of arthritis I had, which eventually narrowed down to AS because of the symptoms or the things I was describing to the rheumatologist. That whole process, went over a year. Yeah, I'm thinking about 1 year. Yeah, because it took a very long time. Then by then I ORD already.
I see.
Yeah.
So you officially got diagnosed like when you ORD lah.
After you ORD. Like during my, I recall it's like during my uni days, because after ORD straight we go and study. Yeah.
Right. So how old were you when you were diagnosed?
Wow, if was at 2017, you minus away 6. 25?
25.
Yeah, 25.
So in uni, you were diagnosed and you have been dealing with this for almost 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Long time already.
So how did you feel when eventually, who was the one that diagnosed you? Was it the rheumatologist or?
Yeah, rheumatologist.
So eventually when your rheumatologist kind of said like, hey Abrial, you've got this thing, AS, and I'm sorry you got to deal with this for the rest of your life, and kind of thing. What went through your mind? How did you feel, and how did you approach this?
I think when the rheumatologist told me, say like you are diagnosed with this, then I can remember clearly my first question was like, oh, okay, then like how, like can it be cured? So still felt quite positive. You find out like what's wrong with you. Cause like after 1 year you don't know what's wrong with you.
Right.
Just like everybody don't know. Then like find out. Then she said like, oh, there's no cure. Then after that I was like, when she said that I still like okay, I look okay, but deep down I felt very bad Like honestly, it's like I was questioning myself in my mind, right? Like I'm only like 25, then like why me? Because. And then I still didn't understand the gravity of the illness yet, like how bad it can be, right? But when she told me that there was no cure and degenerative, I think that's when it really scared me. And then like knowing that there's no cure, I think is the one, it's the killer, I feel. Then you ask like, why me? I mean, of course, like, there's a lot of other worse illnesses out there that could happen to someone, but then you will still ask yourself like why must it be me? Why can't I be just like other people, you know? And then that moment was quite sad, I think. It was that period of time was really quite sad, like, because you keep questioning, like, I had that like victim mentality, like why me, like that period of time, and because it was so unique, right? Like I never heard of it before. Like this is the first time I heard of that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like something very visible either. Like it's not like cancer. I mean, which is also, everything is bad, right? It's all bad, but it's not very visible and not very known in the general public.
Exactly.
So how did you get from, you got diagnosed and then you're feeling like pretty bad, about the situation? How did you kind of get out of that to kind of where you are now, where you kind of try to live life, face life positively despite of your condition?
I think it's like mainly time. Time is time is like one of the key ingredients, I feel, to conquering everything. Cause I think I got diagnosed for 6 over years, right? I didn't really got vocal about it at all until I think until I switched over to insurance. That's when I got a bit more vocal. I mean, all my close friends knows about it, my friends. But I would say nobody really understands it unless it's like my partner. Yeah, they will really understand.
Because they see it happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they live that life with me and they see it like with their own eyes. Like it's and actually, funny enough, right? I didn't ever think about like, should I try to create more awareness about this illness here, like do some vlogs. But it's very scary to like put yourself out there, like then show that you're in a very vulnerable state. Then people will say like, I mean, these are just my thoughts, like trying to vie for like sympathy, all these sort of things, right?
Right.
But I think so. Like when I got diagnosed, I was working corporate, right? 5 years in media advertising. During then, I was never really vocal about it, and I was somewhat in denial. So if you think about it, because I was still doing the things that I'm not supposed to do, and because then I was younger, I think my body can handle it. So like me loving football since I was young, playing football ever since I was like in primary school, right? I didn't want to give that up, and I didn't want to be left out by like all my friends, like even my brother, my close friends.
Right.
All the friends I grew up with, everyone plays football. So I wouldn't want to miss any of these like football sessions. So what I'll do is I'll go and play. The next day I can't walk, right? So I will eat a painkiller after that so that I can go and play football. Even though there's a possibility that I can't walk. So it was like, I would say it's like, I was in denial for most bits. And I think after a while, I think like just years passed and then like I got really frustrated because, like a lot of people like didn't understand what is it.
Yeah.
And, you face all the like doubts that people cast upon you, like because of this illness, like you may need to take like MCs.
Right, exactly.
Or like you may not be available. You may not turn up for events that you said you're going to turn up. And not because you don't want to, but because you
just physically cannot.
Yeah, physically cannot. And sometimes even if you can physically walk yourself there, right? You don't really have the mental strength, right, to like do what you're supposed to do at wherever you are supposed to be at whatever setting. So I think then I started to like, I wrote like this, like I posted like two posts on my IG. And then that's when I really started to like, okay, fine. Since the IG I wrote there is out already, right? And like, I can just openly like discuss about this. And I really told literally I've shown to whoever who wants to see it, right, that I have this problem. It's just like, I think that's when I really started to like open up a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah. And then like let people know and then like speak to everyone. And also I think my job also helped a bit because like just speaking to someone new or friend or client and explaining to them like, like I know you feel invincible, right? But I do feel invincible, but it's not always the case. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, for a lot of different types of autoimmune or invisible illnesses, right? Like the one that you are kind of dealing with, a lot of it is also not just the physical aspect. Like, we deal with pain with, painkillers and stuff like that, but it's also the mental aspect of it is also very, very tough, right? I know a lot of people who get diagnosed with autoimmune type things, like most people go through that whole depressive phase, you just cannot accept that you're gonna deal with this for the rest of your life, and a good chunk of them even go into very, very deep bad depression and stuff like that, right? So I mean the physical aspect of it is one thing, but basically based on your experience as well, right? The mental aspect of it is also a very big part of dealing with the condition, almost the mental part of it seems to be a bigger part rather than the physical part, right? Like, the painkillers can kind of get you through the day and whatnot, but you've got to deal with this mental thing for forever, right? And for you, like, it's even if the pain is bearable, it's the mental strength that you need to get yourself out to complete the task that you have to complete or fulfill your responsibility as a partner, as a family member, as a friend, that type of thing, which can be a very, very heavy emotional burden. So for you, did you have how was your journey like with trying to kind of explain this condition to the people that are closest to you, and did you feel like the people that you kind of share this with, like your closest friends, family, your partner, has kind of helped you get here today?
I think the closer they are, the easier it is to explain it to them, because you kind of let your walls down, right, with people who are closer to you. So I'm not okay. I'm okay with expressing my emotions. So personally, for me, when I speak to people who are closer, right, it was easy for them to listen and understand like what I'm going through. But when I say understand also, it's never really the same, right? For someone who is experiencing the same exact thing with you, with someone who have never felt what you have felt. So I feel like at the end of the day, all like our loved ones, the closest ones to us, right, can always be there for us to empathize with us. But I think what really helped me as well, right, was maybe more of like speaking to people who are suffering the same things, the same exact illness as I am, because I feel then when you speak to them, they really, really get what you're trying to say. And I think understanding different perspectives, right, from different people, whether is it negative or positive, it doesn't matter. I think all would be good perspective for someone to absorb in. So I think that really helped me like, feel a bit better and like kind of like come to terms with my condition. Because I think all my close ones and my loved ones, right, they have always been like supportive from towards me, even if they don't really know like the exact like science behind it, or like the exact attacks or the exact details, right? But they will always be there to listen to you, support you, and so on. But of course, like you said, like it's sometimes more of the mental, right? Like people can always be there to carry you, people can be there to hold you, people that can be there to pass your medicines. But like when you're home and when you are going to bed, right, you're definitely, yes, you could be beside a partner or what, but your thoughts are your thoughts only. So I think that's the tough one as well. And getting support from that, I think is also important. Having someone there for you to speak about this, and also having someone who experiences the same illness can also offer you very strong like emotional and mental support, I feel.
So for you mentioned that speaking with people with the same condition kind of helped you, right?
Yeah.
And I mean for those people that are close to you, and sometimes no matter how much they try to empathize, they are not you, they cannot physically feel the excruciating pain that you are going through. And speaking to some of these people who might have an idea because they have the same illness as you helped. So how did you find these people? Is there like a support group for AS, or how did that work?
So actually, like when I got diagnosed, right, then I had follow-up appointments. So I asked her, obviously I was curious. I asked the doctor, like, are there people like this in Singapore, like apart from me? She said, but it's rare. But they do have like a support group. So she told me that on the first year where I got diagnosed. But I told you that I was in denial. So I don't want to go to like such things. I want to feel like I'm normal, so I don't want to go.
Right.
So I didn't go to like that, the support group, for as long as I can remember, until after COVID. Then I started to like write into the, I started search online, support group, everything. Then I realized that, the support group actually like got somewhat like disbanded during like COVID-19.
Oh, okay.
Because of the lack of activities.
Right.
Because they used to have every Friday they will meet up to do like physio or do something else that can help with the illness. And then by the time I joined, it's too late, right? But thankfully, what happens is that like the National Arthritis Foundation of Singapore, right? They actually like recreated the group in that sense. Like there was this lady there that helped with that. And so they reformed a WhatsApp chat. And then that's where at the same time, I think I reached out to the support group. No, I reached out to the National Arthritis Foundation of Singapore. Then they referred me to the support group. Then got added into the support group. And then that's when I started to join the activities, join the events, and then volunteer for some of the events.
I see. I mean, it's been a tough journey, right? It's been 6 years, and right now, you seem to be in a very good place. But there are still, I guess, hoops to jump through, like challenges to jump through.
Yeah, for sure.
If there's anybody out there who might be dealing with this condition, maybe they're just diagnosed with it, or any autoimmune invisible illnesses, would you be open to kind of being that person to chat with them as well? To kind of help them understand what they're going through and all of that.
Yeah, of course. And like ever since like I did the short story on CNA, right? I like received like so much support. Like, it's been overwhelming. And like I think there's a lot of people who are suffering out there that I never knew, and like I learned so much about other conditions, right? That I didn't know about as well. And I think like at the end of the day, it just brings about the point about like awareness of all the conditions. But one very important thing, right, is communicating. It's like a lot of times maybe we need help, maybe we need something, but we are not direct enough about it or not communicative about it. For whatever reason it might be. It could be like, in the past I was in denial. Could be that we are shy, could be we're embarrassed. But I feel like if someone is suffering from something like this, I think they need to be, on their part, maybe tough, but on their part, right, they need to be communicative to the people who are closest to them first. Then they can slowly move about letting other people know about it. And that's when others, right, and as much as we feel like people might not understand, right, actually I realized like after doing the video, it's like actually like strangers, any people who don't know, right, have so much like compassion, right, and empathy, right, towards people like yourself, like anyone, doesn't matter how severe your condition is. If you show that you're sincere and you need help and you want support, right, I think people will be there to help you out, And of course, I'm definitely like okay to speak to people, but I feel like people should also start to find out about support groups,
right,
that it's related to their conditions. I think it's very important. Yeah, because after being in denial for so long, then being diagnosed for 6 years, I only joined the support group on my 5th year.
Oh,
and then I realized that
half a decade has gone.
Yeah, I realized that like I should have joined it on the first year, because it helped me with my mental aspect of it, and perspective of how you should move forward. Right. I think it's very important.
Right. So based on your experience, like you think that for most of these autoimmune type things, one goal, I guess, to move towards, especially after diagnosis, is acceptance. And try not to stay in that denial phase too long, so that you can get the help that you need and live the life, and you can still live a very, very fulfilling life. Right?
I agree.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Abrial. Really, really appreciate you opening up and sharing about your illness, and understand that it's really tough, and you've got your whole life ahead of you, and it's something that you will have to contend with for forever. So if there's anybody listening to the podcast or watching the podcast, and they would kind of like to reach out because they just need someone to talk to about the condition, where can we find you on the internet?
I'm mainly active on IG.
Okay.
I'm trying to be more active on other platforms.
Right.
But mainly on IG.
Okay, so where can we, what's your handle on IG? Where can we find you?
Oh, it's just Abrial.
You can, yeah.
It's just Abrial Pang. Just like that. At Abrial Pang.
Okay, how do I spell that? ABR
RIALPANG.
on Instagram lah.
Yeah. You can just
nice. All right, man. Thank you so much, Abrial, for sharing today, and I hope to kind of see you around for sure, and hear more of your stories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you're keen on finding out more about Abrial's condition, I believe Abrial did a something with CNA as well, like more in-depth video on his condition. So you can check that out. If not, then thank you so much for watching One Day at a Time, and we will see you again soon on the One Day at a Time podcast. Peace.